Guys, imagine this. You are scrolling through your phone in your idol's pages. So all of it, there's everything. There's the heart emojis, there's the laughter, and then suddenly you read through the comments. Your voice is trash. You got the surgery, didn't you? Quit already. And now imagine reading that every single day before you sleep. This isn't any opinion or the freedom to speak. It is the emotional decay in real time. So today, as a speaker standing on the opposition side, disagreeing with the motion and the statement by the affirmative team saying that toxic things and having negative comment on to in the post of the idol is actually just the freedom of speech. So today, I'm going to prove why that is not true at all, but be not in that way, but it is also in a way that hurt the feeling, the mental health, and a lot more. And those are also being to prove to you why this motion stand on the opposition. Hi guys, my name is Abby, and today I'm going to tell you about the motion and the side I'm being in and why it should stand. So, first of all, I'd like to start by giving out some definition of key terms. Negative commenting. It refers to writing words that assault, mock, or personally attack the idols on public platform. This is definitely not a very good action on the internet, and it has been banned from a lot of schools for children and a lot more situation as in workplace. This hurt the people's feelings, but I'm going to go deeper and more into it in the stakeholders. Not to mention, these negative comments can also be accusation, something that it is not true about the idols at all, but people just spread it online simply because the emotion doesn't match with the idol. Secondly, we have the toxic behavior. I believe it means repeated online action that intentionally or recklessly damage another person, emotional or physical state. We believe when comments cause the critique of cruelty, it's become the toxic behavior in cyberspace. So now let's go into the stakeholders. We're going to have three main stakeholders. First of all, the idols. They are the human beings who actually can feel, they can cry and break under the invisible pressure. Secondly, we have the fans and society, who is the one who mirror what they see online, turning toxicity into a social habit, something that turns everyone into monsters, and someone that people just hate social media so much, something that becomes a great opportunities for value sharing, culture, and diversity becomes a place where toxic is something that is common and well known. And finally, we have the companies and the families of the idols who witnesses the emotional fallout just because they cannot protect those affected 24/7. I would also like to provide some values and what this debate should be judged on. As for the opposition side, we value the digital empathy, the ethical responsibility, and most importantly, the mental health of who is affected the most, which in this situation, the idols, because the words online carry the same weight as words spoken face to face, offline together. Now let's have some observation overall in this motion. The freedom of speech is not the right to wound without consequence. Yes, the affirmative team might say that there's always consequence when the idol can prove the one who comments negatively or accuse them of doing something wrong, or it is the one who comment being shamed by the publics for doing something not good, or maybe students being punished by schools, everything. But that's not enough because the mental health need work, need therapy, and how much money is that compared to the punishment that they get? This is not just about money, it is about their health, something that is hard to heal over time. And it is the right to express idea, not to devalue people. Once expression becomes emotional harm, it stops being speech. It becomes the biological violence. Now, I'd like to provide my team model. A negative comment is toxic when it means these mechanisms. 1. Targeting personal identity, not artistry. For example, you're ugly, your son feels weak, you're voice felt like trash. 2. Creating repetitive exposure with the idol see the harmful content daily on the phone. And third of all, triggering emotional damage, stress, self-doubt, panic, or sleep loss. 4. Lacking constructive purpose, no succession, just destruction. When these occur, the behavior is no longer an opinion. It is called the digital poison. Now, I'd like to provide my 3 main arguments. 1. Toxic comment dissimulate idols from inside to the outside. The brain cannot tell the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. Online hate releases cortisol, the stress hormone, just like the real-world bullying. Day by day, idols lose focus, confidence, and joy. The comment section become a minefield they must walk through every morning. They just don't get the same from perplexity. They also got the pressure and stress from the company because now since there is so much hate, they cannot earn money and their agent can't either. The investment lost. And this is not, definitely we all acknowledge this is not a good thing. And one of the reasons why this is not freedom of speech. A freedom of speech does not include shaming others, from body shaming to their voice, their human dignity, identity, etc. Because as for saying, even in Vietnam, there is the freedom of speech for every Vietnamese. However, it is believed, and it's actually right, that people are not believed to shame others to ruin their reputation. This is one of the school rules that happen to be in my school as well. So, second of all, it rewires how social society and social media defines normal. When hateful comments are tolerated, they shape online norms through reputation. Every cruel post that goes unchallenged makes the next one easier to write. Algorithms reward engagement, not kindness, so toxicity rises from the top to the bottom. And final of all is it corrupts the moral boundary of free speech. Free speech protects ideas and criticism, not attacks on human dignity. Once again, once a comment intentionally harms someone's mental stability, it violates the ethical foundation of that very freedom of speech. So, this impact, because protecting hate speech is the name of freedom is completely wrong. It silences the compassion. It tells a victim to endure the pain quietly. And that's not freedom. That's not liberty. That's a moral laziness dressed as principle. So in conclusion, negative commenting is about idle isn't communication. It is corrosion. We need to act now, and we cannot just believe it. These toxic comments are honestly and personally and actually, in real life, it is not any of the freedom of speech at all. Freedom of speech is meant to speak up your voice, to speak for a movement, for something which is unfairness of society. Its purpose is to lead to the positive impact on society, not the negative one, especially when it is the individual's part. That is the end of my speech. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.